Hi, and welcome to Hardin Life Live. We are the Hardins. We are a group of coaches and counselors who are committed to helping you to live your best life, both from a therapeutic and biblical perspective. And today we are here with Lisa Donohue out of Birmingham, Alabama. She is an author of a book called Soul Rest. She is a speaker, a workshop leader, a trainer. She specializes in grief and loss as a mental health coach and a life coach. And she is gracing us with her presence today. We are so excited to sit with you for these 10 minutes, Lisa, and love that you are kind of rounding out our month of grief and loss, which is actually coming at the perfect time as an intro to the holidays. So would love to just hear from you kind of why grief and loss is kind of important to talk about, especially during this season.
Well, it's such a significant topic, primarily because we don't hear about it very often. And I think coming into 2021, we had such high expectations of a year that would be grand and better. The anticipation was better then. And I think what most people found was that it was exhausting, and we had just learned how to cope through 2020, and then we kind of coasted into 2021. Really not having looked back at what we had experienced. And here we are at the holidays already, anticipating 2022, wondering why we're so exhausted and tired and maybe even a little punchy. And so, right? Grief is such a significant feeling and emotion, and really there's just no movement in life until we grieve deeply. And we've lost so much in the last year, the last 2 years, not just physical death, but so many other things were lost, expectations, anticipations, hope. And so learning how to grieve is actually that next healthy step to living a fulfilled life. But our culture wants to push it down. Right. We're like, just suppress it. We're fine. Everybody's fine. Everybody's just going to put on that happy face and say they're fine. And yet that inner longing is just bursting to get out so that we can live with greater joy. I guess that would be my hope, would be that to have a culture of more compassion towards grieving, more time allowed. And yeah.
Wow, that's so, everything you said, Lisa, just really sort of gets it out loud. What we were so hoping 2021 would just be the wash of 2020. And it was almost like, I think we thought we could get away with not grieving it because we could just look forward to something new and better. But I think you're really highlighting that it didn't work. And I really think it doesn't work in life to think we can live our lives forward without closing chapters of the pain and loss that we've had. And interestingly enough, the holidays obviously can trigger what we've just been through, but it also will touch in all of our lives those childhood losses that we may consciously not even really remember, but they were longings, parts of our value that got ignored or disregarded. And all of a sudden we come to this holiday, and the way our brain works, it stores information in bytes. And one of the bytes is memorials, i.e. holidays. So it's like, oh, I approach Thanksgiving, whoosh, it pulls up all my emotional connection to Thanksgiving. And that again will reveal if you have not done good grief work. It is going to show it because, like you said, the exhaustion, the punchy, the depressed, I just want to shut down or I want to run so fast. That's going to show up, and a lot of us misread it, and we need to give it credit for calling it sadness and grief that I've not resolved.
That's so true. I'm so glad you pulled that up too. Those memories, that sentimentality of past, occasions and holidays, especially this time of the year. The music's more sentimental. Our thoughts are more sentimental. Our memories are reflective in all those places. And with grief, someone put it really well, that grief is just expansive. It expands the soul. It opens, there's a period of waiting to move forward, a period of anticipation and acknowledgement of loss that honestly was done so well so long ago, but now it's just not very productive to grieve. We don't consider it.
Yeah, we don't consider it productive.
Worthy of our time.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's exhausting. I mean, it really is. Grieving, that lament is exhausting and expensive. And who wants to spend time in that place? It's a really hard place to dwell for some time. And that's the significance of seeing someone like you or me, is that just to hold that expansiveness with dignity and honor and agreeing, validating that difficulty. Because, even scripturally, we see not a rush to fix grief, but a really sitting in it. And so finding that person that can sit with you, that's not afraid of it. That's really,
that may not be a family member.
Oh, it usually is not a family member. No.
Oh, because so often they're just not quite there, and they want us to hurry up and get it behind us. And
they want to have fun and enjoy the present. And I even think about my own dad, who's a type 7 on the Enneagram. He's very forward moving. When we think about different stances, the 3s, 7s, and 8s are all in forward motion. They're very future oriented. So they're going to be the ones that are the most in that forward motion, trying to get away from pain. And I love what you said earlier, Lisa. If you're feeling stuck, if the joys aren't as joyful, and life doesn't feel exciting or expansive or fulfilling, it's probably a sign you haven't grieved. You haven't grieved well. You haven't closed those losses up, because you haven't honored them and actually felt the feelings that they deserved.
And the thing that strikes me when you were also pointing out scripture about how we don't do it well, but they did in the Old Testament, I was reminded that when families lost a precious spouse, the women would dress in black for an entire year. It was almost like, don't even expect to have gotten over and moved forward. There was always this public acknowledgement of this person is still working through that process.
Yeah, and there's so much validity. And I don't know about you, but I've said some of the most things I wish I could retract and put in my mouth during seasons of grief. We've done things, you do things you don't normally do. You might say things you don't normally say. And so there's a lot of grace in that year period of grieving, where unless you are aware of that, you don't really understand. There's a reason you don't make significant life changes, right? In that first year, there's a reason to sit and give yourself some time to grieve or weep. Knowing that the negative, even though it's a negative thing, it seems as though is actually negative is good. In that
Negative
sense.
is not bad.
It's not bad. No.
I just noticed that we're all at the end of our time. And Lisa, thank you though for your blog, and I want to get everyone to read that, because if you're not in a present season of grief, you may still be in a past season of grief. And read Lisa's tips and self-awareness parts so that you can get caught up and be current so that you can close some chapters.
Especially the chapter of 2020. Don't we all want to close that
Yeah,
chapter?
let's do that well. So, go
right.
to hardinlife.com and have a very happy Thanksgiving. And we will look forward to seeing you after that first holiday.
Yeah.